And welcome back to Bump Love. If you're new here, consider subscribing if you would like content on parenting, motherhood, or womanhood. Are you a parent that requires obedience of your children? Or are you that parent that looks on helplessly when your child doesn't listen to your instructions? Today, we talk obedience in our children, and it doesn't matter what age they're at. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Obedience. These big words.
Obey.
And I mean, it's something that we quote unquote frowned upon growing up, where our parents required of us to do stuff and forced us. And then now we have now turned the total opposite. Oh, the child doesn't want to eat.
It's okay. Yeah.
No, he thought that let him shout at that adult. That's there. Let them express themselves. I like my child because now he can express himself. No. He just abused somebody, or he just refused to listen to your instruction. So this thing called obedience, what's your model at home? And what are some of the effective ways you've seen it work and non-effective methods that you have in your artillery at home?
So I'll start. My motto at home is, number one, to teach the right thing to do, which I guess every mother at least does their best. So before I yell or repeat the instruction 2 or 3 times, I want to make sure that I have actually shown him what to do. And I found that with Micah, conversation helps a lot, which is something that worried me when he was nonverbal, because I was like, I say something, he's as if he has not heard me, and then he doesn't do the thing. But now that he is, I sit down with him and I talk to him like an adult. And I say, now, Micah used to do this thing at the beginning of the school term where he would sit in class, he's not doing his work in his car office. His teacher is like, Micah, do your work, and he's staring into space. Then all of a sudden he would burst out laughing. And the teacher would be like, Micah, what's funny? I just remembered something from Tom and Jerry.
Wow.
And it would amuse him. He's there reminiscing on Tom and Jerry or Pink Panther. People are working. So his supervisor told me, and so I thought, it's important that I have a conversation with him. So on the ride to school the following day, I said, Micah, you're at school, you need to work hard. Okay, your friends are working. We basically went through the motions. Oh, this is school. When you're at school, you do first things first. Do your work, and then you can remember Tom and Jerry when you're on the playground and laugh about him all you want.
Hey, Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry, really. Anyway, so following day, he goes back to school, and I have not had that complaint again. Actually, recently his teacher was telling me, oh, Micah, these days he sits, he does his work, he's so focused. No more Tom and Jerry or Pink Panther, the things that really amuse him. And so I have learned for me that the motto in my home is first to have a conversation about something, teach him the right thing to do. Then repetition is also part of my artillery. Yeah, and it's something that I learned even when he was nonverbal. We're told that talk to him like he's an adult, but you have to keep repeating things. Yeah. Where a neurotypical child would listen after maybe say 3 times of repetition, for Mike I would have to do maybe 5 or 6 times of repetition. So that has just sort of become part of my parenting. So we say and say and say and say until certain things become the law and normal. Yeah. So for me it is teaching and then repetition. And then after that, when we have put the repetition and now we know he knows what to do, then there are consequences or rewards. Yes. Now he's refusing. We're like, hey, okay, there's going to be consequences for not doing what you're not told to do if I have to repeat myself. I also discovered that with Micah, I guess like with every other child, he pushes the boundaries. You say something once, say it twice. And then all I have to say is, Micah, I'm going to repeat myself one more time. And then there will be consequences. And then you'll see him either organizing himself or he'll be curious to know, Mommy, so what are you going to do? What are the consequences? And then I'll go something like, no, it's okay, you just don't do what I have told you to do. That's enough. To the bathroom, go to shower, or go take the glass that I have asked him to take. He sort of falls in line because for him consequences are, they ruin relationship. I don't want to be sad, I don't want to be crying, so let me go and do what I've been told to do. So that's my model.
I'll just quickly slide into, because you said, say, have a conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm slowly learning that while I'm having these conversations, I do not say don't.
Many times we are saying, don't do this, so they get confused.
Yeah.
Like I would always say, don't put this. I'm like, okay, what do I do? Why don't I do?
Yeah.
So now I'm slowly learning to say, do this. Your sister doesn't like it when you do that. Don't, so that I'm trying to avoid it because it disorganizes their concentration. But yeah, what is working at mine, the truth is, for me, Chiboko is still on the corner. But because I feel like right now, I work with my 4 are different temperaments. So I've learned to work with each of them, what they best understand. For some, speaking will not help. I have to put more stringent, I have to put more stringent measures. And now for Dean, my first, I do not have to, I just have to speak. And he will quickly do it. I don't have to flex. So my last 2 are the most problematic ones right now. Because I'm still, trying to contain them. Yeah. But also I give myself, with disciplining a child, many times they're telling us, oh, they are still young. No, we need to start early. And their grannies are fond of that. No, don't, they are still young. I mean, you want them to still do. Exactly. Ahanga, they beat us. Yeah, and they're like, don't. No, so for me, I start really early. Right now, Zara, it's even funny because I was trying to see what discipline, because she started this stupidity in the house. That funny child, she feels very entitled. I can do everything because, everyone is giving her attention. So I'm like, but what do I do? Before I spoil my girl, but even when I try talking, can you do this? She's like, I don't care, mom, they really test you. Can you please? Nothing is working. So I started my sapatu. That's a language we know, African mothers. Bring my sapatu here. Two are enough. What did I say? Papa. Immediately she shuts up. So I don't want to use it as the only measure of disciplining sapatu. Getting her to be more obedient or listen to me more. But now I'm trying to learn what works best for her, because she's especially for that too. These others, they are kawa. Dean, no problem. Fatah, I figured him out. Consequences. You don't do this, you're not getting this. So he knows, he put himself in line. And also they're above 7, because when a child is above 7, they are more, I think they get to be more obedient. I don't know, I would like to think, based on the foundation, I'd like to think that they get more obedient. So these last 2, try and error, but that's what's working. Sapatu.
So as you all know, Blake is like Dean. Yeah, so he got it. He's those children who, he's very compliant. And so he'll really do. But I still see things in Blake where I see him.
Yeah.
Yes, and I feel like for a very long time, I have masked that disobedience with him 90% of the time being the right thing. Yeah. So I'm just like, no, he's good, But now I realize, I'm like, but this quiet defiance.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm like, he'll come and ask me like a stupid question, and I'm like, really?
Where did that
really, Blake? Really? And they have this thing where they, like, I can say something like, so you guys have not done your evening routine. Oh no, I can say something like, you've not done your routine. Then I'll find him there, quetalaring in the house. I'm like, Blake, what happens? Like, so you didn't tell me which routine. I'm like, it's morning. What don't you see?
Oh my God.
It's morning routine. What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Or I would say something like, I see somebody left dishes in the basin. You know those things where what we go through as moms. I see you left dishes in the basin. And then I walk away. And they remain there. Then I come and say, guys, the dishes, what happened? They're like, no, you said in the basin, and there are no dishes in the basin.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, they're in the sink.
They're in the sink.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, why are my children doing this
like,
to me?
we're going to get mommy on technicalities.
That's how my children get me. That's how they disobey me on technicalities. I'm telling you. Like, guys, can you go to bed? Then they'll be there. Like, no, to go to bed, we have to wear our pajamas, and our pajamas are wet.
Wow.
And whose fault is that?
Right? I'm like, what's going on? It was just bed. Bed is 8 p.m. Go naked if you want. You know what I mean? Things like that, they really get me on tech. You've said it so well. I didn't have the English, for it. My children disobey me in technicalities. But then there's Bianca. Bianca. After technicalities, she more as in like some Bianca gets me. And for a very long time I asked myself, but what can I do? What can I do? What? God give me wisdom. God give me wisdom, because me, that's where I go. And I'm like, God give me wisdom. God give me wisdom. What do I do? What do I do? Because I had tried everything in the book, and I'm an early childhood specialist. And you know, I went through the whole, and I've shared with you guys before, when I'm giving instructions, you know, the problem with an instruction is it comes with mini instructions in there. When you say go wash the dishes, it's not just washing the dishes. They have to first separate the dishes, then they clean up the sink, then they remove the dirty stuff from the then they soap, then they rinse, then they clean the thing where the dish rack, then they put the plates on the rack. As in, that's the process of washing dishes. So when you say get ready for school, it's not just as simple as get ready for school. And so you find that as a mom, you're constantly shouting out instructions. Why didn't you wash the sink? Remember to first remove the food from the thing. Now didn't get it. Why didn't you separate the plates? So that whole thing, like you said, confuses them and gets them really confused. So I do this thing where I put all my instructions written down, so that I just have to say one thing, like, can you do your evening chores? So that then they can see what the evening chores are. But Bianca can come and start with like the 10th.
When the first
No order.
Yeah.
I can't.
Because she says like, and I've given them in order. And so you'll find her. So, and the way I did the routines is that they do it at the same time. In my mind, I'm like, how long does this chore take? It takes 10 minutes. So what chore can this other child do? That's also 10 minutes. And then they kind of complement each other. If one is sweeping, then the other one will mop right after the one who has swept. So you'll find Bianca with the mop and the water, waiting for the one who's going to sweep, who's still on task 1. But Bianca has not done 1 to 10, 1 to 9, but she's with a mop. I'm waiting for. I'm like, really? Have you gone through your entire tasks?
Oh God.
She's like, no. Of course, I know, but I also know that as a creative, a time will come and this need for her to to be orderly will come and bite her. And I have been there myself. So I know the importance of her, you know. And then I've tried talking, and I'll talk with Bianca. She's like, yes, mommy. There's even times when she'll come and suggest for herself how she can be a better child. Mommy, I think that when I come...
Now I'm going to do that. But that's fantastic.
They come to me, mommy, if you put for me alarms, which says task 1, task 2.
As if in the bank.
As if it's That
Oh my God,
Nah,
dramatic.
she'll come and still do task 11.
I know.
So anyway, I think something came through for me. We officially changed our children's school. Her new teacher, I think her new teacher inspires her. She loves her new teacher. And I think also her new teacher knows how to work her. So there's something that's happened. So, and I think that thing is really important, really for many parents. The environment your child is in outside of home will inspire the kind of child that they are. Because now she comes and she's like, you know, mommy, I'm a leader, you know, and so I have to do things on time. So you have to take me to school on this time. So my only problem is that all these things are, she's following instructions at school. So I want to have a conversation with that teacher to assist me, to tell her, to instruct her to follow my instructions at home. That's where I am now. That is my next. I had never thought it would be an artillery where I'm asking somebody else who is this, who your child looks up to who inspires them. Even you, Angie, if you could just assist me because she loves you so much. And I said, but are you listening to mommy's instructions? I think so. For me, that's where I've reached. I tried friends.
I can imagine.
I gave her rewards, consequences, I talked to her, I did everything in the books. The last one I had is for people to
someone
assist
else
me and tell my daughter that I'm a good mother and she should listen to my instructions.
Oh,
that's
wow.
where I am.
Lord Bianca.
So I'll keep you posted where we've reached. When this episode airs, I will be in the comment section to let you know how it's going.
When I was raising my children, I understood faster than their father that we were raising 4 different children. Right? My firstborn is as gentle and as soft-spoken and as chilled out and as obedient as his father. Those are easy to raise. Raising Papa
Was a joy.
thank you.
Was a breeze. No,
A
maybe not a joy.
breeze.
All of them is a joy, but like
You know, you tell him something, he didn't like punishment, he does not like when you punish his siblings, so he will quickly finish up their things, and you know. So Papa was an absolute joy. Michael mimics Papa. It started when they were younger, but I would be like, Charles, Michael, Mwisho, Asante, and that's how they've grown.
yes.
Even in terms of characteristic and everything. And guess what? He's doing biomed. But this was a child I used to punish
A
of
lot.
Mickey. And funny enough, I didn't know, I think he had a bit of a strain of
Dyslexia.
Yes. So I'd always be like, how is it possible that you read this yesterday and you can't read it today? My poor boy was cramming. He just crammed lots of words. Right now, as we speak, he's graduating with a first class. Wow. I would tell mothers out there, breathe. All the things we are stressing about now, rules, regulations, things. At the end of the day, breathe, then understand that you're not superwoman. And if you have God in your life, as I was going to tell you, worry not, my life, because you are simply, these children have been given you for a period of time.
Correct.
Because yes, I did a lot of the spanking, and the truth is, guys, spare the rod.
And spoil the child.
Nobody's saying break your child's head or anything. But I believe that mental punishment is worse than physical. Because once the spanking is done, we understand why it happened, and that's it. If it's a bruise, like for example, if you fall down and bruise yourself, if it's terrible, you'll scar. But if it's not, it's forgotten. But there are things inside your head
that you can never forget.
Speak ill and the words and even the consequences. We look at them easy, but be careful with the consequences that you put out there.
There are extreme consequences.
You know, sometimes that's why you punish and it goes away. Your child will never equate a smack on the bum with mommy's lack of love. But the words we speak or the things we take away from them. Today, you're not going to go to church with your siblings because you miss
that.
Those are things that affect them way longer than this. Wait, my kids all knew how to dodge thingies. These ones of
they would duck.
And when my mom saw me do it, like when my first and second said, no. You always make a child lie down. Then you smack. Because this business of just she's like, why are you doing that? They're not getting the message.
They're not.
Let them lie down. And they each had their own cane.
Explain to them. My mom did that stuff. Explain to them why.
We spoke about it on one of the shows, but go behind the door. Like now, Charles was 10, he'd get 10 canes. Yes. 8. Like that.
So no matter the crime, you are 10 years. So
my thing is that if I put it into numbers, it's not about how I am feeling. I'm not just beating aimlessly. If it is 10, I'm like 1, we count. 2, we count. So today morning I spanked spring. And spring is 10. Because you see also spanking has a lifespan.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. You see, yeah.
But by the time a boy is 12, to be honest, spanking should stop at about 10 years.
Yeah.
No
I hear
more.
you.
Yeah.
Because then by 11, we're now becoming men, and now that will
Yes.
affect.
Yeah.
But the numbers game is just to stop myself from punishing out of emotion.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's a control
I think for
mechanism.
me, we've always shared that
Yeah.
spanking. When you start with spanking as your first measure,
Yeah.
where will you end?
Because spanking is already escalation.
Yes,
Of
like
course.
it's such an escalation.
Yeah.
And you remember what would happen like when we were in school,
Yeah.
where even spanking became like such a cool thing. I was just like,
Yeah.
you understand? Like,
Yeah.
like so after I finished here,
Then what? What's my escalation?
Just like also once you finished a certain level of mental torture, what's next?
Actually,
you
not that
have
one
to
of
be
mental
careful.
torture can tell you, and I still have some spanking in my artillery there. But like again, when it comes to this thing called obedience, and us in early childhood, we keep telling parents that you have to be very careful. First of all, never do it when you are angry.
Yeah.
And I know that temptation is so high to do it when it's hot and it's only human. But then to remember that I could do more harm than good in this state of anger. Because even for children who you talk to, there was a time I remember Blake asked me, so are we going to do that talk again? Because for him it's just like, Banang. When mommy starts talking, why do we have to enter a conversation? Just tell me what I need to do, then I'll finish and I'll do. Because for him, talking, I was like, you understand?
Direct opposite. Spanking is what I would do first. By the time we are talking, we understanding. We are now at that, and I don't mean that spanking on a daily. But I'm saying if we do wrong, the consequence, I'd rather be spanking rather than getting into your head. I have issues with talk. Because
This is what I hear you saying.
Yes.
You're able to regulate yourself with the spanking.
Yes.
With the talking, there's no telling how bad it is or how far you can go.
I cannot also even tell.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You can't tell.
Because physically, I'm like, okay, these are 10 canes. I know I beat at a certain level,
Yes,
right? But with the
intensity.
words we speak,
It's
they
difficult
stay
to know.
inside there.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the way I was.
the
Once again,
saying.
once
Yes,
again,
yeah, if you're
it
doing
depends
certain,
the
yeah,
words you're saying. That's why I'm saying, ladies, you guys spoke about the way you deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm saying the way I deal with it.
Okay, now I just needed to understand where your worry comes from with the words that you're saying.
Because
Why do you
as
think
Angie,
they are affecting?
words
And yet
are
I
so-
thought that the words would be, instilling,
Yeah.
this discipline, just talking them into the right things to do.
When I say that first is punishment, it's because we talk. In my home, people, like for example, someone will tell you, "Oh, Angie's like crazy." In my home, this is how we speak. So if we do wrong, we go to the spanking level, right?
Okay.
When we bypass spanking, because the things that hurt me during my childhood was not the spanking, was the words. When an aunt says something to you and it stays. You cannot tell me now. Someone will say, "Angie, why are you so thinking about your children?" Growing up, people always say, we were mistakes, we were not supposed to be born, as a joke. So for me, I don't joke about when somebody tells me, "Oh, Angie, this don't look like your children." I'm like,
What do you mean?
I take major offense than if you got me and slapped me, because for me, words have more
power
than the physical. I know mommy has finished beating, it is over. They beat me because I did X, now that is done.
Lord, but I like that now that is done. But now you've not met a child who you've beaten.
Who have done everything.
Like now, 2 minutes later.
They do the same
They
thing.
are back.
Now, once again, that's how I'll say, when somebody hears me speak about spanking, they'll think that I spank my children every day.
No.
I've spanked my first one maybe 3-4 times.
Yeah.
Same for the rest. But that's my go-to.
But
thing
that's
for
that's
children.
that's also one of the things that I want to say on this camera about Angie. Sometimes, have you heard what she has said?
Yeah.
3-4 times is exactly what we are all talking about.
Exactly, not every day.
But she starts, Angie, me, I've seen you with your children. You talk.
She does.
Your first mode of discipline. Okay, maybe I didn't know you earlier, but I've even seen you with your nephews and nieces who have been coming to the cradle. I think in your mind, you're like, I'm spanking. Like, by the time she reaches spanking, she feels like now that's her first mode of action. To be honest, Angie, you first talk.
Yeah, she does talk a lot.
But talking is not punishment. Me, I know
No, it's not punishment, but it is your way of getting
your
them
child to
be
listen.
obedient.
Yeah.
Angie, me, I've known you for years.
maybe.
When you say that,
Spanking is definitely escalation.
Apart from Mwisho, my children, to be honest, we have to always, you don't have to talk very good things about your children because the devil can be hearing. But those who are like, and then for them, they don't want to see me unhappy. Now for them, that's why I said after the spanking, like one time Oje he rarely punishes the children, but he punished Mwisho. Mwisho is my second.
Mwisho is mini
Ange. My second. Mwisho can take you to heaven and back and everywhere. And I love him so much. So Oje is like, Auntie, this time he gets him, closes him in the room. He's like, now I'm going to punish you that your mom is not. I'm on the door, please.
Please.
Yeah, but the one of first time. Don't believe Angie. Don't believe Angie.
Until Oje opened again and said, Angie, I said I'm spanking Mwisho. So he turns to spank Mwisho and the belt hits me. So that is when Mwisho cried.
So nobody hurts my mama.
So punishment, as you say, it reaches a level when that's it. Now it's this, that's why I say the mental thing. For him in his heart, is that, oh gosh, because of what I did, mommy has gotten hurt as well. Those are the things that affect my kids more than, now, okay, like we said, but the spanking is also there. But now that they are adults, we said obedience is being able to listen to your parents. Once again, please, devil, leave my children.
We cover them with the precious blood of Jesus.
Yeah, we cover them.
But you see those big, tall giants. Yeah. I come in, maybe like now during COVID, but the maid is not there. I'm like, boys, the dishes, and they're like, Mom,
don't worry.
Let's sort this.
Oba, I'm lying in the sitting room, maybe I'm ill or what, you go to the bedroom, they've laid
the bed.
Leave Mukama, stand me, leave
our children alone. But you said something very profound, especially on us, the parents, when we are trying to get them to be more obedient. To breathe, to relax. I have learned the art of chilling and relaxing. Like even if they do what, I'll first look at them and be like, Like I could throw you up the ceiling, but it's okay. And let me breathe. Because if you don't, you can easily hurt a child. You can easily hurt a child with your words. You are very, very profound about the words. You can abuse them verbally, physically. So breathe. Like they will always fault. They are not human. Even us, we faulted when we were babies. So just putting that in perspective has helped me. Because raising 3 children, three boys, and 1 girl who is just as the boys can be much. So for me, I've learned to relax.
More so, people are trying to create perfect children. You're trying to create perfect children because that's what you have put out there. Me have told me I'm cantankerous, but God has assisted me. But to mothers out there, children aren't supposed to be perfect.
No, they're not.
They're not supposed to. They're not supposed to listen to everything you say.
Just
and
like you don't listen.
Exactly.
You don't listen to your boss.
So to be honest,
you don't obey your bosses.
So if your child is shooting at a 60 or 70, Ebidala, breathe.
You
Breathe.
said something really important, and I keep saying that, especially when it comes to like this disciplining issue.
Yes.
The day I learned, I think the day my eyes were opened was when I realized that in discipline and your need for your child to obey you and do what you want them to say, what you want them to do, is you need to open your eyes and see that what they're struggling with is possibly a character issue. So when you see it like that, you become more aware. It's what we've just been saying here. Even you, when the boss tells you to repeat you pull up your mouth.
Exactly.
They've told you to repeat that exercise.
Yeah.
So why do you not that exercise, that proposal? Yeah. They've thrown it back at you and told you it's not good.
Not even to just do that job, and you're just like,
hours working on it. You pull your mouth. But then when you reach home, you expect that when you tell your child to mop the second time, they'll be like, yes, ma'am. Yes. Okay, I'll do exactly that because you asked. Like if you yourself, exactly what we've been saying, if you yourself find challenges with doing certain things that you've been asked of or you've been required of, how much more your own, a child who has not even lived half the years that you have lived on this earth, or even just something that is really profound, like Bianca's and Pumla keeps saying this. Pumla was unable to be here. Pumla keeps every so often she keeps sending me some messages because she knows I have a Bianca in the house. She'll keep sending me a message, and you guys have seen her send a message and say something like, or even to Zara, she says, you know, Zara's character is to be guided, not managed. To be guided and not managed. Because that obedience, requirement for obedience, means that you want to manage. You want to manage them. So based on that, you know, I wrote a book, Stop, Listen to Your Child Think. One of the things that I found very profound in my artillery is to hear what they were thinking. What was going on in their mind? That doesn't mean that what they were saying or doing was right. Or that their refusal to be obedient is right. I just want to hear.
What's going on?
What's going on in that brain? Like how exactly have you worked this thing out? And to be honest, there are many times when it makes sense. But the truth is, at this point, I just need you to do what I've asked you to do.
It's true. When you see certain character traits in your children, I see, Rachel, you mentioned it, and Micah is like me. And the things that your child is like you are the ones you really want to straighten and, you know. I have been there, and this is going, and yet sometimes they have to make their own, make their own mistakes. But now with an adult child who has so much of me in him, I'm like, wow, had we stopped to listen to what he was thinking, and that was Mwisho. Mwisho would go to every school, and he is the most liked student. My kids are bright. Books were not the problem. But have you ever seen a child who has been expelled from 3 international schools?
Oh, wow.
And those people, they don't. They don't expel, they suspend, then A levels also. But what he was telling us, and what I now see with Spring, and I have to make everybody cognizant to the fact that these children are the way they are. Mwisho had always wanted to create. But here we were pushing him in the direction of maybe where his brothers, his firstborn is an economics, my thirdborn is doing medicine. Asante, well, let's wait and see. And today, OJ proudly says, my son, the cameraman. Wow. Which for a man of his background, it took a really long time to understand that we've done all this. And as a man, you're thinking the first degree should be a solid degree. And then he will go do something else. And Misha is not a disobedient child, but something that small cricket inside kept leading him in that direction. And here we were trying to guide him to be obedient. And right now, Musha is on the dean's list, but he's doing film and cinematography.
Wow, what
so,
he wants, like it pushes them.
So whilst you're raising these children to be obedient, stop.
Listen to your child think, and I like that. Many times we think of ourselves just as mothers. I heard Rachel say, "Oh, he's exactly like me," and we forget that we make these babies with their daddies. Have you thought about their daddies? You know, their character. You know, your child is dealing with a character that you barely even understand yourself. You barely understand yourself. So
yeah, no, you make very valid points, but I wanted to ask on the point of having this really obedient child who does everything. They're always doing what they're supposed to do. You know, science says, research is showing that those children end up being people pleasers.
yeah.
It's okay.
They end up being compliant pushovers. They end up being stepped on because when they go into the workplace, for example, and it's time for them to fight for a certain job that they should have, they'll listen to the instruction that it's not yet your time. Then they sit back and hold back because they need to listen to the instruction that has, because somebody accepted you know, they were easy to raise because anything you told them to do, they did. They don't like this girl, but because everybody says you should, so they marry her. They don't love her. There's someone they love, but
I think
Auntie, everybody has said, so how does that?
to personal characteristics.
Of course, yes.
Beyond the obedience or you know, disobedience, I think somebody's character has already to be weak in that area for them to accept.
And it's something that can be fixed. I actually read an article while we're getting ready for this show, and the author was talking about raising obedient children versus raising children who cooperate. And there's a difference because with cooperation, you are involving your child in the raising, so to speak. Because obedience is because mama has said, and we use those lines a lot. Because I said so. This, no, I'm quoting the article. Yeah, because mommy has said, or because I am the law, therefore you must do what I have said. Versus cooperation, it's like, okay, we need to eat food. The dishes are dirty, therefore, like, what do we do here? So having those conversations, or stopping and listening, like, why do I tell my child to do something and they're not doing it? Be more curious about why they are not listening, and then start to say, maybe it's a character issue. How can I involve community? How can I involve their teacher, or, you know, Angie, who is their boss, that sort of thing. And so, yes, there is a danger, but like Angie has said, I think at the end of the day, that boils down to character. And if they are the sort of person who has a growth mindset as they grow up, when they realize that I am a pushover or I am a people pleaser, then there are measures to do something about it. So I don't think that should be a worry of a parent. I just choose your model, because at the end of the day, we keep saying here, we tell you things to do and not to do, but you're going to raise your child the way you see fit. And at the end of the day, what works for you is what you are going to do. Eventually, when the child grows and maybe you're still in their life, you're going to help them overcome the hurdle of people pleasing. I know I struggle with people pleasing, but for me, it was more of a character issue. But I'm also naturally a compliant person because I hate confrontation, I hate conflict. I don't like being in a situation where things are tense and we are fighting and we are not talking. I like us to be harmonious. Yes. I don't like shaking tables, even at my expense. But now that I am older and now that I know I have a flow,
shaking tables.
Well, not quite. Yes, there are things that I do. First of all, there's the internal work that I have conversations with myself. I've been open about that. And so I will manage the situation first internally, because for me, that's what matters. If it's a relationship worth saving, I'm going to be bold enough to do something about it. So I think that, yes, we might be worried about raising compliant pushovers, but that's something that can be managed later, but it does boil down to the character of the child.
Yeah, so if you find, that's what she was saying, and I agree with it.
Yeah.
So it's important, but it's also sometimes very hard
Yeah.
to know what character you're raising, and therefore whether their obedience will, in the end, lead to a pushover child.
Yeah.
And that's why, for me, again, asking your child so that you find out what they are thinking,
Yes.
I think is so important.
Yeah.
Because for a while, for example, Blake would listen to all of my instructions.
Yeah.
And he had something that he was thinking about, but because I was not asking,
He would not say.
he would not say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I remember there was a time he was not doing set. I can't remember what it was, but I remember that I said, "But tell me what you think.
you think, yeah.
Why aren't you doing this?" And he said, "Because, Mom, you come and pick us up from school too late. Now, when I come home and I have just a short period of time to think through my tasks, I'm just looking for the fastest that I can do."
So there's an explanation.
You understand? There's an explanation. And if I had not listened, now I started to come for I'm always, but I used to be like the last parents, but I would expect them to
do this with the same intensity.
Yeah, exactly, the same intensity.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important, and I find that my son, he's in that place where I'm just so scared of raising a pushover of a son or a compliant boy. And I remember there was a time, to be honest, I asked him what he was thinking. I'll probably not indulge all the details, but I remember telling him, "Do it." And it was wrong. I said, "Do it." Yeah, what I was telling him. And it was a school thing. That's why I can't talk so much. But you can imagine
what it
was. And I told him, "Go
and do it
and come back and tell me." Like, I encouraged him to be defiant. And because I realized, first of all, it wasn't so bad that it was, but I needed him to realize that it's okay to be defiant. It's okay because you are thinking about it, and then when he came back, I said, "How did that feel?"
That's why conversations with such characters are the best, because that's you get to encourage them, to guide them on how to go about all these challenges, because they face challenges with that character of theirs. And research has been done and said that, that children will not listen because we are not listening as parents. We are not giving them enough time to listen to them.
Darling,
we are shaking tables. We are back. We are on our phones.
Drinks, please.
They are falling on the ground. We are not listening, so we expect them to listen when they are not listening. And Dean is one person that always complains about me not listening to him enough. And now I'm learning, because for him, he loves conversations. He's like, "Mom, but you just won't listen." And I'm like, so he teaches me to be a better mom.
Even you see, my firstborn is like that. You'll think he is. Boss, he's not. You see, even Micah, if he was born of Rachel only, she would have a problem. But you see, Ben is the perfect gentleman, but my dear. Mutoke. Yes. So if all fails, at least we know that. Genetics.
That makes Angie, you're such a darling. No, let him be a good boy. It's okay. He can't be pushed over. No, he can't.
No.
And let us know in the comment section, do you have obedient children? Do you have not so obedient children? And what are you doing about your obedience? Because now we are realizing that either way something might go wrong, but also either way something might go right. So let us know in the comment section, what are you doing? What methods are you using in your home to get your children to be obedient? And if you don't know what to do, maybe a brunch at Golden Tulip every Sunday for only 90,000 for adults and 60,000 for children. You can have some really good conversations with your spouse on how to better parent your children so that they can be more obedient, or better still, like we've learned today, more cooperative. Absolutely love it. Right here at Golden Tulip. Until next time, with love from Bump Love. Bye-bye.